All right, welcome back to another Real 2K recap covering the games from October 27th, 2025. A little bit of league news to get to. Mac McClung signed with the Pacers on the first standard contract of his career. Great landing spot for him. He can learn from TJ McConnell. I think that his paced style fit with what the Pacers are doing. And Lord knows that Pacers fans need something to watch and cheer for this year, given all the injuries. They are a little bit lacking in talent, and they waived James Wiseman in order to make it happen. The Pacers, of course, not the most talented team in the front court, but you can't really play any of these guys together, and they just needed the help in the backcourt right now. They're playing Ray J. Dennis, 28 minutes a game on a two-way contract. So Wiseman, he hits the free agent pool. He was owed $1 million guaranteed, so he'll get that. I don't think it's the end of his NBA career per se. The number 2 overall pick, of course, is disappointed. It kind of bounced around a little bit. But and obviously he played 2 games in 2 years for Indiana, and he made a couple $1 million out of it. So not too bad for him. Of course, tore his Achilles last season. And he came back in a little less than a year from that to be ready from training camp for the Pacers. So I think it probably benefits him to spend a little extra time rehabbing and getting stronger. Since he has the guaranteed money, he doesn't have to run overseas or anything to chase the bag. So he can afford to be patient and wait for another opportunity. Lord knows there are certainly other teams in the league that are very thin at center that he could definitely play for, like the Boston Celtics, for example. I mean, he could probably freaking start for them. The Grizzlies, it was kind of awkward timing because just like the day before, they signed Charles Bassey to a 10-day hardship exception. So it is possible that Wiseman also figures in with them. And other teams, like, for example, the Knicks, they brought Alex Len into training camp, and they have very little behind Mitchell Robinson, who's yet to play in this regular season, out with an injury after going balls to the wall during preseason for whatever reason. The Knicks are one of those teams that is a little bit limited in what they can do because they're close to the apron, and either the first or the second apron. A lot of these teams are going to be a little cautious about adding another player. They'll probably wait until like the second half of the year in a lot of cases. That way they don't get hit with any financial and draft penalties or whatever. Heading over to the Charlotte Hornets, we got a little bit of clarity on Brandon Miller's injury. It's a partially dislocated shoulder. Jeff Stotts of In Street Clothes says that the injury without surgery typically has an average recovery time of 21 days, so 3 weeks. So hopefully Miller has a less severe case of it and that he doesn't have to miss too much time. It would be a real bummer if he had to have surgery and miss extended time, given that he missed 55 games last season. So with all that out of the way, let's head on over to the Cleveland Cavaliers, the first of our 9 games that we've got to cover. They move up to 3-1 on the season, beating the Detroit Pistons 116-95. One of those games on Peacock. I got a chance to watch a lot of it. Detroit was just completely discombobulated against Cleveland's offense, against Cleveland's defense, and then Donovan Mitchell, they just had no answer for him whatsoever on offense. 35 points, 13 of 18 from the field for Mitchell. I did get his rating edit into the game. I didn't really change any of his ratings based on his performance so far this year, but for example, one thing I changed with him, the most significant thing is his dunk rating. They have it at a 92, 2K Sports does. So his archetype in their roster is aerial playmaker, which I disagree with. He's, for the most part, a below-the-rim player. He does have 2 dunks so far this year, but he was a lot more athletic, or at least high-flying during his Utah tenure. He's a little older now at 29. And my archetype for him is ankle taker. Detroit's defense would surely agree, given that he picked them apart the entire game. I've got him in a 95 ball handle. I think they have him at like high 80s. I think like maybe 88, which doesn't really make much sense to me because he does a lot of ball handling for the Cavs, breaks a lot of ankles, etc. And then Sam Merrill, he ended up he got off to a hot start, but then took a charge on uh, what's his name, Jalen Duren, and then ended up missing the rest of the game with a hip contusion. Of course, Jalen Duren, significantly bigger than Sam Merrill, probably regrets taking that charge, but Merrill, one of the most underrated players in 2K26. So I've got him at a +5 overall to a 79. He's hit 21 threes through his first 4 games, which is a Cavaliers record. Heading over to Detroit, Jalen Duren. He was in foul trouble. Asar Thompson, Tobias Harris, they were all in foul trouble against the Cavs. And then it was an off night as well for Cade Cunningham. 12 points on 3 of 12 shooting. They were down 22 at the half in this one. Isaiah Stewart, completely ineffective against Jared Allen and Evan Mobley. 4 points, 1 of 9 shooting, 3 turnovers, 3 fouls. He was a -30 in his game action. Let's head on over to the 76ers, who moved to 3-0 on the season. It was the first game of the back-to-back, so Joel Embiid sat this one out. They beat the Orlando Magic 136-124. I assume that, and this is the first game of the year that Embiid missed. I assume he'll play against Washington tonight. The Sixers have 16 back-to-backs this season, which is most in the NBA, and it's the most number of games. It means the most number of games that Embiid can play is 66. Which means it's nigh impossible that he'll be able to get awards like All-NBA or even All-Star, since for All-Star with the coaching voting, they typically care about games played more than like the fan vote does. So at Adem Bona, he got his start in place of Joel Embiid. He played 25 minutes. Drummond played the other 23. But the story of the game was Tyrese Maxey, 43 points, 8 assists, 15 of 32 from the field, 4 of 11 from 3, 9 of 10 from the free throw line, with only 1 turnover in 41 minutes. Back in 2023, when Embiid was at his MVP level, the team struggled when he went down because Maxey was just more of like a secondary player, and he wasn't able to carry the offensive load. He was more of a complementary scorer rather than a guy who was like driving the offense. That does not appear to be the case now. He has looked really comfortable leading the offense. Only 6 turnovers for the Sixers in this one, so I've got him at an 89 overall, which is 3 points higher than 2K Sports. And then VJ Edgecombe, I gave him a +1 boost in this game as well. He is 5 points higher than where 2K Sports has him at an 81. He had 26 points, 7 assists, only 2 turnovers, played 39 minutes. 10 of 17 from the field, 2 of 4 from 3, 4 of 4 from the free throw line. He is averaging 25 points through 3 games. 8 and 20 from 3, which is 40% to start the year. So solid shooter. And his athleticism coupled with Maxey means that like the Sixers are just like really pushing the pace. They're going to have the most athletic backcourt on any given night. He had a super athletic chase down block, reminiscent of like Ja Morant, really the only guard who gets blocks like that. Derek White, of course, is a good shot blocker, but his are like more like straight up rim contests rather than like a freak display of athleticism. So really exciting times for the 76ers. And you know the pain that they felt last season when everything fell apart. VJ is here to rectify a lot of that. Kelly Oubre Jr., I've also got him +1 from where I previously had him +3 compared to 2K at an 81 overall. He had 25 points in this one, 10 rebounds, 2 threes, played 40 minutes. He's been shooting the ball a lot better, so I got his 3-ball up. And yeah, he's a big part of why the Sixers have not missed Paul George at all. Of course, Edgecombe as well. Honestly, I feel like as soon as Paul George comes back, they'll probably start losing games, and then he'll be like a major scapegoat for that. But we'll see. Worth noting that Jabari Walker started this game rather than Dominic Barlow. Barlow was inactive in this game. Of course, he's on a two-way contract, and you can only play two ways or have them active for like 50 games a year. So it's possible that the Sixers are just going to like alternate these guys each week. Walker, for his part, had 4 points, 5 fouls in 14 minutes. Basically, that's all what he's there for is to grab rebounds, commit fouls, play hard, and grab rebounds. Heading over to the Magic, who dropped to 1-3 on the year. Paulo Banchero, 32 points, 11-11 from the free throw line, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 blocks. Desmond Bane, 24 points. Franz Wagner, 22. Jalen Suggs came back he's not going to be playing back-to-backs either. He had 12 points in 20 minutes, a little bit of a minutes restriction for him. Orlando only 8 of 25 from 3, which is 32%. They are not winning the math battle. They're not generating open looks for shooters. They have a bottom 5 offense again. Just too slow setting up, too much dribbling, stagnant offense. A lot of this I think just has to do with the Banchero Franz Wagner pairing. They're a little too similar, and these guys may run their course sooner rather than later, and it also might lead to the team moving on from Jamal Mosley. He could end up on the hot seat if the losses start piling up. The Magic have a great defense, but it's just not really excusable for them to bring in Desmond Bane and still have a stagnant, unimaginative offense. But yeah, that's where the Magic are at. Slow start, unfortunately, 1-3 for them. A lot of people were anticipating that they'd be one of the better, myself included, thought that they'd be at the top of the East to start things off, probably with a 3-1 record. But then, they still got to play the games, and that's why the Chicago Bulls, they have a 3-0 record to start the year, even though they haven't been with Kobe White at all this year. They beat the Hawks 128-123. 8 Bulls were in double figures again, so they're getting solid contributions across the board. Josh Giddey led with 18 points, 13 rebounds, 5 assists. Vucevic, 17 and 17. Modest Bazelis had a bounce-back game with 16 points. Trey Jones had 14 points, 7 rebounds, 9 assists. Even Isaac Okoro got in on the action with 10 points, his best offensive game as a Bull. Ayo Dosunmu, 21 off the bench. Kevin Huerter added 15. Even Patrick Williams, 12 points. He's had back-to-back games where he was pretty decent. I'm not a fan of how 2K scales their role players. Mine typically come out a little higher, so expect ratings for some of these guys to go up as I get to them. Probably, let's say 2 points each would be my guess. And certainly maybe even more than that for some of them if the Bulls continue to win games. And they beat the Hawks, who dropped to 1-3. Another team that people expected to be a little bit better this year, but they are struggling a little bit out of the gate. Of course, a lot of that was due to Kristaps Porzingis and Jalen Johnson and Zachary Risacher all missing in action the last couple of games. They came back for this one. Porzingis had 27 points, but also only 2 rebounds in 25 minutes. The Hawks were out-rebounded by the Bulls 51-36, so that's definitely something that they might need to shore up. Jalen Johnson, 25 points. Those two combined were 22 of 35 from the field. To help counterbalance Trae Young, who had 21 points and 17 assists, but was 7 of 22 from the field, 1 of 10 from 3. So the shooting efficiency for Trae Young over the last couple of years hasn't been the greatest. Zachary Risacher had a dud in this one, 2 points on 1 of 5 shooting. He was a number 1 pick in name only. Would have been drafted something like 6th if he came out in this draft. And then Dyson Daniels, 2 points, 1 of 8 from the field, 3 steals. He has 20 points through 4 games, which is averaging 5 points per game. Conversely, last year he was averaging 14 points per game. It was a big part of Hawks fans' excitement for the future. They have a lot of stans on Reddit who come at me anytime I point out Dyson Daniels' weaknesses. which he has a lot of offensive weaknesses that need to be cleaned up. And he showed signs of being a shooter last season, 34% on low volume. Of course, 2K only looks at his percentage rather than all of the other stuff, which is why he has an 83-point rating. Woof. I disagree with that. So very clearly, I think we need to lower Dyson Daniels' his overall rating. I'll try to get that done before the Hawks play again. And we'll see how long Daniels. He has he got his contract extension, and Reaves is the #1 pick, but so they have a little bit of leniency, I think. But we'll see how long they keep their starting jobs, as Nickeil Alexander-Walker has been better than both of them. He dropped 17 points in 30 minutes off the bench. He's been playing really well offensively, and obviously is, certainly a better defensive player than the young Reaves. So if anybody loses their starting job, I would anticipate it to be Reaves. But we'll see. If the losses start piling up, the Hawks will probably make a change. Also worth noting, Onyeka Okongwu had 18 points and 10 rebounds off the bench. And the 10 rebounds, Porzingis only had 2 in this one. So they could end up going big with Jalen Johnson at the 3, which would be made easier if either one of these guys could improve just a little bit as a shooter. I know Okongwu was shooting it a little more this season, but if they were able to get away with Johnson at the 3, Porzingis essentially at the 4, and Okongwu at the 5, I think they'd be better positioned, and maybe that would end up being their playoff lineup. I don't think that Reaves is long for the starting lineup. He projects more as like a Nick Batum type of like role player, if anything. Heading over to the Houston Rockets. They got their first win of the year, dispatching the hapless Brooklyn Nets 137-109. It was the end of the supersize lineup for the Rockets, as Josh Okogie started over Steven Adams, probably to match up with Cam Thomas and max out on the perimeter defense with Amen and Okogie. Although it's worth noting that Okogie has been effective to start the season. He had 10 points in this one, shot 3 of 5, and was 2 of 2 from 3. He's a career 30% three-point shooter. It's the only thing that's been holding him back so far in his career. He's a really good defender, but he needs to add the 3 as in the 3 and D, right? So he's 4 of 7 from 3, a little bit low volume, but if he's going to hit like 1 per game, the Rockets are probably going to be happy with that. And then Şengün, of course, that means he started at the 5. And he bounced back from like a subpar second game. Had 21, 6 and 6 in this one, 7-11 from the field, 2 for 2 from 3. So he's now 7 of 12 from 3 to start the year. So it was not a one-time thing in that 5 3-point explosion in the opener. He does look like he is going to be pulling throughout the season. Steven Adams only played 16 minutes off the bench, and Clint Capella, he played 14 minutes this time. He showed some life with 8 points on 4-4 from the field. Tari Eason came to life. He had 22 points, had been dreadful in the first 2 games, so good for him to the law of averages. You're going to be good sometimes, you're going to be bad sometimes, and then what you are in the middle is essentially what you are as a player. Reed Shepherd, he looked pretty good against a G League team in the Brooklyn Nets. 15 points, 8 assists. Good to see. For him to get some run in some lower pressure minutes. The Rockets had a 58-50-89 slash line against the Brooklyn Nets, who are really, really bad by design. They dropped to an NBA worst 0-4. Igor Demin and Zaire Williams were both out in this one. Terrence Mann made the most of his opportunity with Zaire out. He had 21 points on 8 of 11 shooting. His ratings are a little low, but not that I'm looking to run out there and raise the ratings of the Brooklyn Nets by any stretch of the imagination. Cam Thomas came back down to earth against the Rockets defense, 9 points on 3 of 9 shooting. uncharacteristic 2 for 5 from the free throw line, so he just got rattled by Amen Anakogi. And MPJ had 18. Day'Ron Sharpe had 17 points, 12 rebounds off the bench. A lot of garbage time in this one. Ben Saraf, 6 points, 5 assists, 25 minutes, was 2 for 8 from the field. He sucks, and so does Nolan Traore. 4 points, 3 assists, 21 minutes, 1 of 5 from the field. The Nets learned their lesson. This is, again, by design. They want to maximize their draft pick. Dennis Schroeder, his level of play last season essentially cost them having a high draft pick this past in this past draft. So they insured their tank by just drafting 3 19-year-old point guards who are not going to be good enough to win games the way a veteran like Schroeder was able to. And worth noting for the Nets, the way that their controversial draft went, all their other first-round picks are sidelined. Going over to the Boston Celtics, they got their first win of the year, moved to 1-3 on the season, 122 to 190. It was Josh Minott's chance to start in this one. Last game, it was Hugo Gonzalez. It was Sam Hauser in the first 2. Pacers might have found something. 15 points, 9 rebounds, 1 steal and a block in 28 minutes for Minott. He was a plus 42 in that time. The next best on the team was Peyton Pritchard at plus 27, so they absolutely killed it in the Minott minutes. Second unit really did it for Boston in this one as well, as Anthony Simons had his best game as a Celtic, 25 points, 6 threes, and 32 minutes off the bench. And then Luka Garza, 16 points, 3 threes, and 19 minutes. He had a negative 7.8 player efficiency rating entering this game. So good to see him get on track. He matched his season high from the previous 2 seasons in this one. I imagine he'll probably eclipse that, probably hit his career high this season, if we're being honest. He'll get an opportunity to play more minutes at some point. And then they dispatched the New Orleans Pelicans, who were without Zion in this one. He missed his first game with a left foot bone contusion, was a late scratch, which, is always raises alarm bells with anytime there's an injury ever to Zion. So the Pelicans ended up going with Jeremiah Fears in a smaller lineup. Not pictured here. This is essentially the lineup I think the Pelicans should be going with, because they used Fears in a smaller lineup, and it was unfortunately basically with Jordan Poole at the 2, like pushing everybody up. Herb Jones at the 4, and Yves Missi. Him and Carlo Matkovic came back from injury in this one, but it was a complete disaster for Jeremiah Fears. 2 points, 2 assists, 4 turnovers in 27 minutes. Shot 1 of 11 from the field. It was a reasonable test for Fears. No fear, right? Well, definitely no fear in this one. I think he probably would have been better off going against the second unit of the Boston Celtics, where they play Anthony Simons, rather than going up against the defense of Derek White and Peyton Pritchard. But it was a good test. Boston, of course, was a winless team, hadn't done much this season. But yeah, I anticipate that they'll probably go with Sadiq Bey in this type of lineup in the next game, but we'll see what they do. Aside from that, Derek Queen had 12 points in 22 minutes. They could also lean on him more if Zion misses additional time. They are fairly similar players. And then DeAndre Jordan made his debut with the team, who's actually effective and played ahead of Matkovic in the rotation. 7 points, 5 rebounds, 11 minutes. And because of that, I actually switched Matkovic to power forward, which is probably closer to like his natural position, and it gives the Pelicans a little bit better of a front court balance. I always try to have like 3 players at each position on a depth chart, if at all possible. Obviously, the Pelicans here are a little bit of an exception because they have a player who's going to miss most of the entire season. And then once he does come back, we'll probably end up switching one of these guys over to the 2. But let's head on over to the Spurs. They moved to 4-0 on the season. beating the Raptors 121 to 103. Wemby was Player of the Week, and he's the first player in NBA history with 100 points, 15 blocks through 3 games. Yeah, he absolutely insane. Luke Cornett was day to day. He's day to day with an ankle injury, so it's Biyombo backing up Wemby. But he had 24 points, 14 rebounds, 4 assists, had four turnovers. So season high for him there. He of course had 0 in the first 2 games. Only 1 block in this game. He'd averaged 6 in the first 3 games of the year, coming in with 18. 7 of 8 from the field. Didn't take a 3, as he's been focused more on like doing things at the rim, and then was 10 of 10 from the free throw line. So it's just all worth tracking. Probably going to decrease his 3-point tendency before it's too long, and then increase a lot of his interior tendencies, like the close shot tendency. He's been posting up more. He's taking more guys off the dribble, etc., getting to the rim, and he just moves so well that like you can't guard him with the center. He's playing all the other centers off the court. You need to play him with like your power, a smaller player. Finishing off the Spurs, Stephon Castle, 22 points, 4 assists, but again, 5 turnovers. That's been a major issue for him. He's not really good enough to be a point guard, at least in the point guard type of things. The Spurs' record, for what it's worth, is a kind of NBA manufactured. Aside from the opener, which of course they aced against the Dallas Mavericks, they've played a lot of crappy teams. Their first true test isn't really until November 7th against Houston, so this is a team that could end up, they could have like an 8-0 or 8-1 record before that game. I don't know how many games they play between now and then, but yeah, I expect that they'll probably go into that game against Houston with a really good record. De'Aaron Fox should also be back in the lineup by then, so they'll have a nice little cushion to maybe jockey for some playoff position. But the Toronto Raptors, they dropped to 1-2 on the year. RJ Barrett led them with 25 points. Ingram struggled a little bit with 14. Scotty Barnes, only 8 points. Jakob Poeltl, 2 points, 4 turnovers against the Wemby menace. He just has no chance of guarding him or doing anything against him offensively. And then Colin Murray-Boyles, he had the best game of his career so far with 14 points. And that's probably, honestly, the type of player that you want to be using against Wemby, is like a kind, not a Zion-sized player, but like a 6'7" guy with a little bit of strength, who has like more of the athleticism and like strength to like bang with Wemby and basically take away his agility advantage, because he's just blowing by anybody who's slow of foot out there. And like the strength of these guys of like traditional centers doesn't counteract just like Wemby's actual like size and length advantage. Heading over to the OKC Thunder, their record is not manufactured. They moved to 4-0, and they've run a gauntlet against some really good teams. Shea, and they beat the Mavericks in this one. Shea, 23 points, 8 assists, only 2 for 2 from the free throw line. So the Thunder didn't get many calls tonight. Shet had 18 points, 11 rebounds, 4 blocks. Hartenstein added 16 points and 12 rebounds, 5 of them offensive. AJ Mitchell, again, I did a rating edit on him a couple of videos ago. Check that out. Had 17 points off the bench in 27 minutes. Essentially has been the sixth man for this team while they're so racked by injuries. The Thunder were only 6 of 30 from 3 and 11 of 13 from the free throw line, but won it with their defense against Dallas, holding Dallas to only 38% from the field. The Mavericks, for their part, were without Derek Lively in this one with a knee contusion. It was also a back-to-back game for them, so they might be playing it a little cautious. They're still without Daniel Gafford, so AD surprise, surprise, started at the 5. They ended up going with P.J. Washington, Thunder Killer P.J. Washington, at the 4, his more traditional position. And then they started Max Christie essentially to guard Shea. They played Klay Thompson at the 3, and then Cooper obviously at the 1. AD had 26 and 11. Christie was solid with 14 points. Honestly, he should probably be starting over Klay at this point. Klay has been pretty mediocre to start the season, had 8 points on 3 of 11 shooting in this one. And then Flag had the worst game of his career as a pro. 2 points, 1 of 9 from the field, 0 assists, was minus 20 in 31 minutes. Honestly, they probably should have just started him at his natural small forward. This was not the game to really be using him as a point guard against the OKC, OKC's crazy perimeter defense. I don't know what they were really thinking. D'Angelo Russell, he ended up playing 30-something minutes in this game, 9 points, 10 assists. Didn't shoot the ball well. Obviously, OKC has a phenomenal perimeter defense, 3 of 14 from the field, 1 of 8 from 3. But they just needed somebody who was going to manage the offense. And, Cooper's, he can drive and then make the pass from the drive, but he's not somebody who can really run the offense. And that's really something that the Mavericks kind of need. This is a major weakness for them. And they're essentially exacerbating it even further by leaning into starting Cooper at the 1. But let's head on over to Utah. They've been pretty surprising to start the year. They beat the Suns in overtime, 138 to 134. Jazz are trying to tank, but it's just not working. They're going to have to trade Lauri Markkanen because he's too good, man. 51 points, 14 rebounds, 14 of 32 from the field, 6 of 13 from 3, 17 of 17 from the free throw line, only 1 turnover in 45 minutes. He had a subpar year last year, was dealing with a back injury, but he looks back to his all-star form. I've got to get his rating up. There was a lot to cover and break down in this video, so I did not give him a rating edit. Again, he's another player on my list to get that done before they play another game. Walker Kessler, 25 and 11 in this one with 4 blocks, 9 of 12 from the field, 1 of 2 from 3. That again, he was 2 for 2 in the opener, I believe. He's added that to his game this year, so expect him to his 3-point rating to. I already raised it like 15 points. Expect it to trickle and trend upward throughout the year. Keontae George has been really good, 26 points, 10 assists, playing at a higher level than he did last year. I need to get his rating above Isaiah Collier, who has yet to play this year. Ace Bailey unfortunately struggled. Again, 6 points on 2 and 9 shooting in 14 minutes. I probably need to get his rating down. Let's see if I can fiddle his intangibles. Yeah, let's drop that since he is not starting. But yeah, let's head on over to the Phoenix Suns. They dropped to 1-3 on the year. No Dylan Brooks in this one, so we can't blame his erratic shooting. Royce O'Neal filled in and had his best game in recent years against his former team. 17 points, 13 rebounds, 7 assists, 5 steals. Woo. Devin Booker, 34 points, 10 assists in this one, and then Grayson Allen added 23 as well. Mark Williams was back, and he had his best game as a Sun, 25 points, 11 rebounds, 31 minutes off the bench. And then Colin Gillespie, also really good, 15 points, career high, 13 assists for him. Played 32 minutes. What's his pass rating at? 72 is fine-ish. He's really the only point guard that actually exists on this team. So during crunch time, the lineup they ran with for most of the game was Gillespie, Booker, Allen, Royce O'Neal, and Mark Williams. We'll see if they make a lineup change. Obviously, they're without 2 of their top wing players, but certainly Mark Williams is somebody who could figure into the starting lineup. They've been starting Oso Ighodaro. They're playing him, 15-ish minutes a game or so in the early going. Heading over to the Denver Nuggets, they moved to 2-1 on the year, beating the Edwards-less Timberwolves 127 to 114. Jamal Murray had 43 points. Jokic triple-doubled. 3 consecutive triple-doubles to start the year. Only 3 players in history have done that. 24 points, 14 rebounds, 10 assists, 9 of 10 from the field. This was his best game of the year so far, but he's been on to a slow start offensively. Last year he averaged 30, as putting up triple doubles. 24 points has been his high mark so far. So, he's letting other guys eat. Obviously, Murray has been pretty good. Aaron Gordon's been pretty good as well, although he was quiet in this one with 9 points on 3 of 10 shooting. And Tim Hardaway Jr. showed some life off the bench with 20 points. He's going to do that every now and then. He'll have one game a week where he drops 20, and then the rest of the week he'll go like 2 for 7 or something like that. The Wolves, on the other hand, they dropped to 1-3. And missing time is going to be a huge blow for them. Hopefully they're not too far behind in the standings by that time. But Mike Conley rejoined the starting unit. He had a season high 10 points. DiVincenzo at his natural shooting guard, 12 points on 3 of 10. McDaniel stepped up offensively with Edwards out, had a season high 25 points. Randall at 24. And then Terrence Shannon, he absorbed a lot of the playing time, had 9 points in 25 minutes off the bench. The Golden State Warriors, they moved to 3-1 on the season. They went with the Draymond at the 5 lineup as Horford sat out, first game of the back-to-back. So they started Podziemski at the 2. It's the fifth starter for the Warriors has just been like a rotation. They've been rotating through a few guys throughout the year. One of those players was expected to be Moses Moody, who started off the year hurt, and then he's come off the bench in the last 2. He had 20 points, 5 threes in 22 minutes in this one, so maybe he'll figure into the starting lineup now that it seems like he's back to full strength. Paz, for what it's worth, in this one had 23 points and 6 assists. Jimmy Butler, 20 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. And then Jonathan Kuminga was probably the biggest bright spot on the team. 25 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, 9 of 14 from the field. Really good to see him playing so well after being the most dramatic free agent for the Golden State Warriors. He might end up being like a part of what they're doing going forward, which a lot of people weren't expecting. They were kind of anticipating that he'd just spend the year coming off the bench as like a borderline malcontent waiting for a trade, and it just hasn't played out that way at all. I definitely need to get his overall rating up. Should definitely be higher than Al Horford. I would say he's playing a more significant role on the team. And they beat the Grizzlies. Grizzlies dropped to 2-2 on the year. Obviously, they've been dealing with injuries so far all over their lineup to start the year. Ja Morant, 23 points, 9 assists, but doing so on only 8 of 23 from the field. 0 for 6 from 3. Jaren Jackson Jr., 16 points. And then Jock Landale had his best game in years with 17 points on 6 of 6 from the field, 2 for 2 from 3, 3 for 3 from the free throw line. Hey, maybe I got to get his 3-point rating up a few notches. And then the Portland Trailblazers, they beat the LA Lakers. Oops, there we go. 122 to 108. Drew Holiday, 24 points, 6 assists. Curious about how the return of Scoot Henderson will impact things. Drew's been playing a lot better offensively than he has the last couple of years. And Scoot, of course, has struggled for most of his career offensively. Obviously, he's a younger player and a bigger part of the future, but maybe they would want him to run the second unit, as Denny Avdia has really established himself as like the top dog in Portland with 25 points in this one. Donovan Clingan has been solid as one of the premier young defensive bigs in the league. Had 16 points, 14 rebounds in this one. Shaedon Sharpe had a little bit of a bounce back game. Couldn't have shot it much worse than he did in the last one. 16 points on 16 shots in this one. 7 of 16 from the field. Not great, but not the worst either. And then Jeremy Grant, he added 22 off the bench. Blazers dispatched an extremely short-handed Lakers team, as we found out that now Gabe Vincent is going to be out for the next 2 to 4 weeks. And then Marcus Smart also sat this one out with a quad injury. So Jake LaRavia, he started at the 2, and then Jared Vanderbilt started at the 3. LaRavia had 3 points, 5 assists. Vanderbilt, 14 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals. Probably his best game in the last few years. The Lakers are so banged up that Nick Smith Jr. and Bronny both played 20 minutes each in this one. The Lakers only have 7 healthy players on standard contracts, so they don't really have anything at all on their bench to speak of. And then Austin Reaves, 41 points for him. So he had 51 in the last one, 92 points in the last 2 days. The Lakers were on a back-to-back, so woo, wow. He is averaging 36 points on the year. He's shot 43 of 75 from the field, good for 57%. 13 of 22 from the field in this one, 3 of 8 from 3, 12 of 14 from the free throw line. Had 5 assists. He did have 8 turnovers in this one, but you can't really blame him given that he's doing everything he can offensively, and they literally have nothing else around him, really. So I ended up doing a Reaves rating edit. I've got him up to an 88 overall. This is 3 points higher than what 2K's got him at. And the most noteworthy change of what I did to him is his ball handle rating. They have him at a 79, which is absurdly low, even dating back to like 2 or 3 years ago. He's always been like a pretty good combo guard. He's right now 11 pick and roll possessions a game. He's doing so much on the ball right now, so there's no reason for his ball handle rating to be this low. I also upped his playmaking. He had a 42 assist percentage entering this game. Last season, he was at 25%, so that's a difference between like a 70-ish pass rating. 42%, that's in like the 90s. So he is capably filling the playmaking void of LeBron James, who hasn't played yet this year, and also of Luka Doncic, who's missed the last 2. So one thing I do also want to note is I really like the renovations or overhaul, I guess you could say, to like the archetype system in the game. I like how I feel like they're better descriptions now, less gimmicky. 2K, for what it's worth, has Reaves as a crafty 3-point sniping dimer, which, I don't know about 3-point sniping dimer. I do have a high 3-point rating on him, but he's not like a crazy shooter or anything. Again, he's a great driver, which is reflected here by my 95 layup rating. That's a few points higher than last year based on what he's done this year. And he's obviously had a great floater in between game for a number of years. So my archetype is crafty inside out combo guard, which again is reflecting that he is he's a combo guard. He's a scorer, and he does a little bit of playmaking, and he's dangerous inside and out. Anyway, that was our recap from today. A lot happened, and there's still a lot to get to. So if you like this video, thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, etc. All the marketing promotion stuff that I never do, we're doing it here now for the 2 people that are still watching. Those 2 people who are watching, I really appreciate you. Thanks. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.